One community that is having success with large construction projects is the town of Fort Myers Beach. The new Big Carlos Pass Bridge that connects the south end of the barrier island to Lovers Key is projected to be completed by the summer of 2026. Fort Myers Beach also hopes to open this new town hall in about a month. Hurricane Ian destroyed the former town hall in 2022. Buying this structure on Estero Boulevard and repairing its storm damage cost about $8 million. The new town hall will house about 65 employees who've had to work from locations across the area. To get a better understanding of how the beach community is recovering from Ian, we recently sat down with Mayor Dan Allers in Times Square. Here is part of that conversation. Mayor Allers, welcome.
Thank you.
So it is hard to believe that in September it will have been 3 years since Hurricane Ian. So I want to start with the big picture here. How is the recovery going as far as residential units coming back? How many did you lose? How many are back? And how about lodging?
Well, lodging, we'll start with that, I guess. We lost quite a few, obviously, hotels. We're probably just over 50%, 52% or so of the hotel units that are back that we had pre-storm, which is a significant number. If you look at the Whale, the Beach Bar is another one that's pretty close to being done this year. So we're excited about the progress. Obviously, things could go much faster. We'd love things to go faster, but building in a barrier island is very difficult. It's very challenging. It's not the same as, if I'm from the Midwest. Building up there is far easier than it is down here. There's so many more regulations, wind codes you got to deal with, structure-wise, elevation, flood maps. So it's challenging. It takes time to design projects, a year to 2 years sometimes to design a project once it's been approved. And then the construction is another year to 2 years. So, 3 years has gone by, or almost 3 years has gone by pretty fast, but we still have a long way to go. I'd say probably 1,500 rooms we lost, because I think we had right around 2,600 rooms pre-storm, and we're just over 1,300 or so back now.
How many home structures were lost, and any idea how many have come back?
Of the 3,500-ish structures, when I say structures, that, condo building is a structure. It's not every unit within it. We lost about 1,900 that were substantially damaged. Of how many of those are back, it's really hard to put a number on it because it changes every single day. I would say we're probably less than 50% of those that have come back, or at least are in the process of coming back. But what's encouraging is that you can't go down a street on the island that you're not seeing either a new house that's been built and is being lived in already, or one that is coming out of the ground, or one that's already cleared permitting and is now ready to come out of the ground. So it's encouraging. Some streets have several, 3, 4, 5 homes that are coming out of the ground. So it's exciting to see that people are investing back in the island. I think they see that we're moving down the right path to be more resilient, to hopefully never have to deal with a storm again, but should we have to deal with it, I think we're prepared to do it.
When another hurricane comes and we see streets flooded here, some people will question, are we meant to be here on this island? Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, people have been attracted to barrier islands for decades, right? For centuries, because it's a beautiful place to live. But you have to understand that there are some challenges when you live here. You're not very far above sea level. At most, maybe on our island, 10, 12 feet, 14 at the max, if you're lucky to be above sea level. So when you're getting a 15 to 18 foot storm surge like Ian sends, you're going to have water. If one thing I would say that came out of Ian is, most of the structures now are going to be elevated. So flooding those lower levels will be far less than it was.
In talking about rebuilding, I know a huge frustration was this loss of the discount from the federal government. Yes. on flood insurance. It's been a frustration also for small business owners like the one we're at, who have been operating out of these containers. Do you feel like these small business owners have been given enough time to rebuild and get out of these containers?
Well, we've tried as hard as we could to fight on their behalf, not just for the business owners, but for our residents. Residents are kind of the backbone of this island. Without the residents, a lot of the business don't have support here outside of season. As you can tell, there's not nearly as many people here now as there is during season. So to be able to support that, you have to have the local base. I've always said it's kind of like a tripod. You've got to have your local businesses, you've got to have your residents, and you got to have your visitors or your seasonal residents. So if you've got all three of those and a good combination of those, that's what this island has been built on. And if you lose one of those, that tripod could tip over. So it's very hard to balance that. But losing the national flood insurance discount was upsetting. To me, I took it personally as a failure, but I think we're well on our way back. We just told a couple weeks ago that We've been taken off probation as of November 18th, which allows us to get back in the community rating system and potentially earn our 25% discount back. I can tell you that staff knows that the direction from council is to make sure that that happens as best as we can. To be able to get back off of probation as fast as we did, I think is a testament to how hard our staff is working to make sure that we're giving everything in the format that FEMA wants to see it to them. I think that was part of the hiccup, is some communication issues on both sides. You know, it's unfortunate that we went on probation. It's not what we wanted. We thought we were doing the right things. FEMA didn't quite see it that way, but the fact that we're back off of probation again this year allows us to get back in that CRS program. Our goal is to get at least the 25% discount back, if not more. So by the end of August, we'll be able to get the reviews done through FEMA, their on-site visits. We still have a few things that we need to get cleaned up, both business-wise and residential home-wise, which staff is fully aware of, and have reached out to the few that are left that need to come into compliance to ensure that the rest of the residents on the island will get that discount back. So now, unfortunately, it's going to come into a time where we're going to, it's going to be kind of ugly. I've been saying for several years now that there's going to come a time where the town's going to have to do some things that are probably not going to be popular, but in the greater good of the island, it has to be done.
Some folks are concerned that they're losing the small town charm of Fort Myers Beach. Do you see it that way?
No, I mean, I've said every single day, I seem to repeat it over and over again. Fort Myers Beach, the charm, yes, all the buildings are part of it. It's the people that are here. It's the visitors. It's the people that choose to live here. It's the families that are raising their kids at the beach school. It's the people that work at town hall. It's the people that you elected to represent you. That's what makes the charm. The buildings are going to look different. We're going to have a very unique mix once it's finally all built back, of still some cottages that survived. You're going to have new homes that are built bigger. You're going to see bigger resorts. You're going to see bigger businesses, but they have to be elevated. And it's no one's fault other than Ian's. It's Mother Nature's, it happened. You can't go back. I think things were starting to, before the storm, you were starting to see some of that elevation happening as people were, either elevating their homes or taking them down and building bigger homes. It was starting to happen already. I think Ian just sped it up by a decade. And, we certainly want to see people back. We want things to be resilient because we don't want to have to go through what we did. It still resonates in my mind. The mess that I saw just minutes after the storm was gone, walking around and looking what just Times Square looked like and thinking, is this island ever going to come back? So to see where we're at 2.5 years after the storm, to say I'm satisfied, there's degrees of satisfaction, right? I would love it to be back fully, but I think we're making good progress. We're learning along the way and we're speeding up as fast as we can where we can, but we want to make sure that things are built correctly. So we want to make sure we're going to leave something that is sustainable. And I think we're well on our way. And if that looks like slow progress, then I can take that punch.
Mayor Allers, thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. We've got more great content for you, from news to the arts to the environment. So be sure to like and subscribe to WGCU's YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms for the stories that matter to you.